Hey folks, welcome back to COMMENqTS Boxing Channel and welcome to another week. Hope everyone's doing well, and for those of you who are working, hope the work week starts well and finishes well. So over the weekend there was one fight that I did predict the correct winner of, but I didn't make any money. I said that Richardson Hitchens would win, would prevail over George Kambosos Jr., and indeed he did. However, the way that I structured my bet is that I had precluded a Richardson Hitchens knockout. I did not think that that was in the cards. I thought it would be a unanimous decision. Well, I was wrong. And so Richardson Hitchens did win, but he won by TKO. He stopped George Kambosos Jr. In the 8th round, which means, of course, that my bookie keeps my bet. But it was a good fight. I think Hitchens seemed to be able to hit Kambosos Jr. At will, I suppose, stopping him eventually with body work. It's just, well, where is Hitchens now? Hitchens is 20-0. He's number 4 in the world, number 2 in the United States, 27 years old. Kambosos Jr., of course, now moves to 22-4. Kambosos Jr. is 32. Now, of course, 32, as we've talked about before on this channel, is not old for a heavyweight. It's not old for some of the lighter weights. You know, people don't fight as frequently as they used to. It's less miles on the clock, etc. Kambosos Jr., 26 fights, 32 years of age, stopped by Hitchens on Saturday, beat Wiley, which was a unanimous decision, but Wiley is not, Wiley is a regional guy, lost to Lomachenko, won a questionable decision against Maxi Hughes, lost to Haney. You know, to be perfectly honest, if you flip the Maxi Hughes decision, and you know, you'd be left with only a win over Wiley, who really is, you know, not in the same league, right? So where do these fighters go? Well, let's start with Kambosos Jr. If Kambosos Jr. wants to carry on, my own feeling is that elite opponents are probably in his rearview mirror. You know, he's brave. You can write a list of superlatives to attach to George Kambosos Jr.'s name. You know, brave, gutsy, determined. You know, never give up, doesn't quit, tenacious, resilient. You know, these are very positive attributes. But at the end of the piece, you know, we're seeing, I think, the end of Kambosos Jr. as an elite level competitive athlete. So, were it me, I would suggest that he consider retiring. He's nothing left to prove, and if you look forward and you assume that he's still going to be fighting, I think it's fair to say that he's going to take more losses and he's going to accept wins. And that's not a position I don't think a fighter of Kambosos Jr.'s pedigree should find himself in. It's interesting, actually. He weighed in half a pound below the limit, which I'm not sure if that's important or not. It tells me that maybe he wasn't fine-tuning enough, but anyhow. A couple of interesting things. come out of this. Eddie Hearn has been talking in terms of Richardson Hitchens being, potentially a pound-for-pound fellow, which maybe, I think it might be a bit premature to say that, but maybe. And I think Eddie Hearn also suggested that it could be a shade early to talk about pound for pound, but it's something to keep an eye on, that's for sure. But what was more interesting from Eddie Hearn, he was interviewed by Mike Coppinger at the Ring magazine only yesterday. And Eddie Hearn said, Turki Al-Sheikh will only work with Matchroom on Richardson Hitchens fights. So, okay, why would he feel like he needs to say that? Well, excuse me. Eddie Hearn told the Ring on Sunday that Turki Al-Sheikh contacted him to say he will only work with Richardson Hitchens if Matchroom is involved. Al-Sheikh's support for Hearn comes after Hitchens delivered a career-best performance on Saturday in New York with an 8th-round body shot KO of George Kambosos to retain his IBF Junior welterweight title. Okay, yeah, this is okay, yeah. But then we get to the interesting bit, which makes you wonder. In his post-fight interview, Hitchens announced he is now a promotional free agent. Aha, okay. Comments that didn't please Hearn. The Matchroom chairman signed Hitchens in 2022 when he was still a rising contender. 6 fights later, Hitchens is a champion at 140 pounds, coming off his first successful title defense. And then Hearn told Coppinger, I was disappointed with Richardson Hitchens' comments in the ring. On one hand, he says, Matchroom have completely changed my life in 2 years. And then he wants to tell the world he's a free agent. It didn't sit well with me, so I pulled Richardson to one side quietly after back in the changing rooms and told him how I felt. It left a really bad taste in the mouth after all the investment we've made in his career. Interesting, eh? And then Brooklyn's Hitchens is the Ring's #1 boxer at 140 pounds. 27-year-old called for future fights. Called for a future fight with Teofimo Lopez. And Devin Haney. Let's see. And then Hearn carries on. We've done an incredible job for Richardson Hitchens. An incredible job. We've kept him nice and busy, headlined him 4 times, and with his great performances made him a star attraction. These are all true things. I mean, I had a heartwarming call from Turki Al-Sheikh this morning who confirmed he will only deal with Matchroom moving forward on Richardson Hitchens. So, of course, Eddie Hearn, a little bit sore, possibly. Feels possibly that Richardson Hitchens is a little ungrateful. But on the other hand, let's call things as they are. I mean, Eddie Hearn did not find an altruistic bone and say, oh, Mr. Hitchens, come to Matchroom. Let Matchroom make you a star. We will do this just out of the kindness of our collective hearts. No. Mr. Hearn, you look at fighters with a very seasoned eye. You look at a fighter, you think if you can make money off that fighter, if you can, then you'll engage with that fighter, and if it all works out, you both make money. But Eddie, you get paid first, buddy. You're not doing this as a altruism. Richardson Hitchens, if he is a free agent, then yeah, go for whoever pays you the most money. A career as a fighter is potentially very short, and even those fighters who actually have long careers, they don't, it's not long in the great sense of the word, right? So, yeah, Richardson Hitchens, go with whoever offers you the most money. That would be my advice. But yeah, so Richardson Hitchens obviously is going to go on at the moment, looking for big fights. Kambosos Jr. in my view, should probably hang them up. You know, he reached his apogee, if you like, back in 2021 when he beat Teofimo Lopez. Probably he's never going to rise to that height again. And, you know, if he's got money in the bank, which I'm sure he does, probably best to retire. And for Richardson Hitchens, will he or will he not stay with Matchroom? Who knows, right? Who knows what these deals are in the background. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, go for where the best and the biggest and the most highly paid fights are. You're a prize fighter after all. And that's all I've got for well, not necessarily for today, but for this morning. So please like, please share, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you watch the channel regularly, just hit that little subscribe button if you don't mind. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for your time. Talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.